So, boys, you feeling more confident about this election now? I'm filled with hope for the first time. I predicted that Kamala was going to beat his ass. I'm usually the one saying the sky is falling, we're going to die. I'm feeling a resurgent sense of optimism. I'm feeling good. How do you two feel?
We've had some really good polls, some really good high quality pollsters too. So Yahoo has Harris +4, Times YouGov Harris +4, TIPP Harris +4, Data for Progress Harris +4, Reuters Harris +5, and that's just been in the last 3 days.
Sure. I don't think I care at all about the national polling though, right? We're on to the 5 to 7 states, or the 6 or 7 states is what we're really talking about, right?
Right.
Yeah, those are Wisconsin and Michigan are her most comfortable leads. Pennsylvania's within a point, North Carolina's within a point, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona. But
hey, did you see that Trump's campaign guy, Chris Lasavitas, apparently he's publicly panicking that Colin Allred's going to beat Cruz in Texas?
No. Wait, what? When did
I'll
this
send
happen?
you the link. I'll send you the link. But he's like Texas is a show. Somebody, I know who's responsible. We need to get competent professionals to take over Ted Cruz's campaign. He seems panicked that Allred's going to beat Cruz in Texas. Wouldn't that be great?
Well, right now the MAGA cope is that they fully expect the polling error to be in Trump's favor, like it was in 2016.
If Electorate wants perms, you can always have perms.
But there's no reason to assume that trend is going to continue. I mean, the polling error was in Obama's favor in 2012. These things shift around, and all the pollsters have shifted their methodology since 2020, and they've been underselling Democrats consistently for 2 years. So I feel really good. I mean, it would not shock me if she won all 7 swing states. I don't know if that's cope, but
Oof. All right, calm the fuck down. I'm not going to go that far, but I'm sorry.
We're going after. You remember in 2020 when Sargon and friends were like, the election is over because Donald Trump won Florida and Texas. Do you remember that?
No.
You don't remember? There was some huge, like, I don't want to call it but there was some crazy polls that came out for, I think it was for Florida and Texas, and people were saying like, oh my God, like Biden might win, Florida and Texas is so crazy or whatever. And then when those 2 states like ended up being obviously in Trump's favor, people were already celebrating, Republicans were already celebrating, and it was like, Biden has no chance. Like, it's like, okay, never mind. This is just my online crazy people.
No, I can do you one better. You got to remember the 50-state landslide from
Tim Pool.
From Tim Pool.
Who's the Barstool guy again? What's that guy's name again? Portnoy?
Mike Portnoy.
Portnoy came out with a video, I think that night, doing a premature victory lap, and it's like one of the most chef's kiss videos of all time, because he's just like, liberals, he won, you just got to get over it, we got to unite now. And it was great.
Yeah, I feel much better. I mean, obviously, with all the institutional advantages, I'm not saying that he can't win. Clearly, he can win. But if you held a gun to my head and forced me to bet, I would say she wins. But it could also be like me thinking to myself, there's no way after all this that we would elect that asshole back. But I don't know.
Never mind. I forgot.
So, Steven, you haven't said if you feel better or not. Hutch and I are feeling better. Do you feel better? Or are you still...
Oh, they were going to win? I don't know. Who knows? Anything could happen. Yeah. I think we're going to win, but yeah, we'll see.
You got a lot of trust issues at this point with the American people, the American electorate.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I mean, the American electorate has a lot of trust issues right now.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
it's pretty crazy.
I feel like a lot of people have PTSD from 2016 and how close it was in 2020. And they just refuse to believe that she's ahead. And I think it's entirely possible that she's going to win by larger margins than the polls are currently projecting, given the current trends of underselling Democrats. And we're going to look back on the stress of she's only up 3 nationally, and she's got this institutional disadvantage with the Electoral College, and it's all just going to look silly.
I just remember what I was going to say. One argument that came up in that Charlie Kirk Jubilee thing that I really like, I'm going to start using this forever, is that the Senate is DEI for conservatives. Yeah. That idea, what you're talking about is, because the national polling and the fact that the Senate exists, it truly is. Like in spirit, it is DEI. The idea that representation matters, representation is important, and that's why in the Senate we equally represent like all 50 states. I like that one. That's a good one.
No, I mean there was one, Hutch, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this stat, but I want to say, was it 2020 or 2021? I don't know if the numbers have changed, but 50 Democrats represented 48 million more people than 50 Republicans in the Senate. Like, that's, man, that really is
No, well, California alone has 40 million people. So, I mean, and if you take the least populous states in the country, it's like they get like combined 18 or 20 senators, and we get 2. So it's pretty untenable. I feel like it makes the filibuster, like abolishing the filibuster, more or less inevitable. I feel like both parties are talking about it pretty openly at this point, and it's just a matter of who pulls the trigger first.
Yeah.
And I understand that there's downsides there. I understand that there's volatile swings, but honestly, I feel like that's probably the better option than where we're at now. Because
Sure.
Do we even have a filibuster right now, technically?
Yeah.
Like, really?
We do.
You don't think
we
that,
have-
like, if it was something meaningful, you don't think we would just go back to the cloture vote and then you would just say fuck it and do what you want to do?
Well, they can do those. They can do those carve outs, right? So, like the great thing about Senate rules is apparently you can just write whatever the fuck you want, and you don't have to abolish the filibuster wholesale. You can make a carve out. You can make an exception for, like, we tried to do it with the John Lewis Voting Rights Act to expand voter registration and voter eligibility and like stuff like that, make it easier to vote. The idea was, okay, we don't have to get rid of the filibuster in every context, but we can vote. Basically, the majority can vote to make an exception for the filibuster on any given piece of legislation.
Yeah, I mean,
but Manchin and Sinema wouldn't go for it.
Well, once you do that, though, I feel like I feel like Republicans are just gonna. I mean, at that point, it's just effectively gone. Because like, if you get rid of it for one piece of legislation or two, or abortion or whatever, then Republicans maybe the next time around are just gonna be like, fuck. And so,
Stephen, are you there yet? Like, I know you're getting a based reformer on the Supreme Court. How do you feel about the filibuster?
I still feel like it's good. I still feel like needing 60 votes is good. I just think that, like, I think there should be some form of bipartisanship on bills. It seems crazy to me that you either have to have a 60 vote majority or we have to be able to pass it with 51 votes. Like, I think Biden has shown you can do it, right?
I mean, he's definitely succeeded more than I thought. There's a really good. So when he said, maybe Hutch disagreed. Maybe Hutch was always optimistic on this front. But I remember vividly when he became the nominee and he was campaigning and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to work across the aisle." And think, I don't remember what they said to your last, like your boss, your former boss. Like they were going to make him a one-term president. They weren't going to work with him on anything. Why the fuck do you think that you'll be any different? And he proved me wrong. He was able to get a lot done bipartisanly. But I just think the appetite. I mean, it's like, he got more done than I expected. Certainly a hell of a lot less done than he expected. And
you think he got less done than he expected?
Oh, sure. I think I think that Biden expected to get more done by for example, when they took the majority in the House, I think Biden was under the impression, or at least hoped, that a House Republican majority would still be able to pass legislation with him, but he's basically had a lame duck presidency since January 2023. Thank God.
What makes you say that?
Say what?
What makes you say that Biden had that expectation? Because I feel like he probably knew. Because I mean,
well, based on what he said publicly, that he knows how to work in good faith with Republicans and all the bipartisan successes, that we'll be able to work bipartisanly. Even when he said, by the way, that he was going to drop out of the 2024 election, he said, we still have X number of months left in my presidency, and there's still a lot more to be done. It doesn't make any sense to me. Not only did he heavily imply it, but it doesn't make any sense to me that he would tout bipartisan successes, and then the second that they regain control of one chamber, that he expected, okay, that's the end of that. Because if they're willing to work with him bipartisanly in the minority, I don't see why they wouldn't be in the majority, right? Something changed. We have a bad faith Republican House majority now, and I think Biden recognizes that the time for bipartisanship is over. I mean, I think he is now well aware that there's no bipartisanship left to be had. I think he basically exhausted the last vestiges of it. As long as Trump is the leader of the GOP, why should anyone expect any more bipartisanship? They were publicly threatened. The ones who worked with him on the bipartisan infrastructure law, like Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Trump bitched and pissed and moaned because they gave Biden a political win. Look at what happened.
Tucker Carlson reportedly called a senator, I can't remember which one, and said, if you vote for this immigration bill, I will end your career.
Bro, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think what Biden got done was really extraordinary, but I think that's it. As long as Trump is head of this party, I don't think there's any more bipartisanship left to be had. So there's a really good book called Tyranny of the Minority, and it's written by two Harvard political scientists. And I think Steven's on Vyvanse now, so he likes to read. I'll send you a copy. You should definitely check it out because they make a really compelling case that, something should be outside the purview of a simple majority. So like constitutional amendments, yeah, that should require a supermajority. Impeachments and stuff like that. Yeah, you want a decisive, overwhelming majority for things, but they make a really compelling case that why should the day-to-day legislation, like why should all legislation require supermajorities? And I'm being really reductive here, but they make the case like, listen, 2 out of 10 things should require a supermajority. 8 out of 10 things, nah. If the majority wins, the majority should be able to have its way. And I think they make a really compelling case for it, as opposed to just leaving it all up to a 60 vote supermajority.
I'm going to leave you boys to your political esoteric.
Well,
philosophies.
I'm pretty much done here too. I wanted to pick Steven's brain about the Supreme Court. Now that he's leading a crusade against it, and I'm proud of him.
Have a good weekend, boys.
I love you. Be careful, buddy.
I see you, Hutch.
I appreciate that, Destiny.
All right, bye.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.